Not all trees are a good thing, and on this particular property we have a blue Colorado spruce. Now if you have one of these on your front lawn, you might consider getting rid of it, which is what we're going to do here. Over time this is really going to get too large, and actually right now it's already overpowering this front yard. Now the shrub border off to the side is attempting at this point to buffer the street beyond, so we're going to renovate it so that it buffers it in a more effective way. Now you can see in behind me that the architecture of the house is really quite beautiful and strong, and what we want to do is bring it out with new architecture in some low columns that will go across the front of the yard, and we're also going to replace the existing stone porch. Now that you can see that it's actually falling apart, and we're going to make it wider so that it spans and gives a more welcoming entry to the front of the home. There's going to be new foundations across the front of the house as well, and overall there's going to be a much more architectural look and a much more pleasing entry to the front of the home. Well, the big tree is gone, and that's really freed up the front of this property for a very dramatic transformation. Now, what we wanted to do is to create a terracing of the existing slope property and create a much more architectural approach to the front door. Now, the first terrace level is defined by these low columns. They're constructed of Indiana limestone, and they have a cap of the same material. And instead of putting a low wall or railing in between them, you can see that we've actually put in a low hedge of these Hicks yews. This stays bright and green year-round. Now the front walk is a really gorgeous India sandstone. You can see that the orange and the yellow tones to it tie back into the brick color of the house. And it's complemented by the risers. Now the risers are a solid stone material. These are called stone monolith risers, and in this case it's an Adair marble. There's a lot of blue tones to this Adair marble, which really then complement back into the yellow and orange tones of the India sandstone. And on either side of the monolith risers are these low return walls. It's constructed of the same Indiana limestone as the columns. And the terrace levels are also defined by very bold bands of planting. This all-season purple foliage of heuchera really contrasts well with the neutral tones of the stone, and they also act as a nice lush base for these ornamental flowering crabapple trees. Now further up the walk you can see that we've got more plantings around the foundation of the house, but also off to the side of the garden. We wanted to visually buffer the view from the road, so a lot of evergreen material like balsam fir, cedar, and Douglas fir have been introduced, and these beautiful rhododendrons are now fully in bloom. The same stone of the walk has been introduced in a stone inlay in the lawn. This helps to consolidate the look of the stone throughout the property, and that leads up to also the front porch. Now you can see the porch, which typically would have an iron railing, doesn't. We've introduced the same Indiana limestone as the columns to create a nice low wall, which can also double as a seating edge. These new urns help to frame the front entryway, and overall you can see that the terracing, the stone materials really help to create a wonderful new architectural statement for the front of this home. If you have a large evergreen on your front lawn, consider removing it. On this project, the large blue spruce blocked the view to the front door and didn't really lend itself well to the architecture of the home. By removing it, we allowed for a new terracing of the front lawn, an introduction of some great new stone materials, and overall we have a much more unified architectural space which creates a grand entry statement for this home.